Hello, hello, hello. You're tuning into another episode of The Wunderkind Show. Today's first topic, the media and their narratives. Look, I'm actually gonna give y'all a story that happened today, right? That's what today's episode is about. Because I'm honest with you guys. I'm very candid about everything that goes on. I feel like that makes each episode more personable, more intimate. You know what I mean? You could see the genuineness of where I'm coming from because I do it that way. So, you guys know better than anybody that we were able to procure an exclusive interview with Lamar Jackson himself. And when I say we, that means me, everybody that watches this channel, Raven, and everybody that watches his channel. Okay? Now, as content creators, this is a big W for us, right? Because Lamar is a very, very, he's a very nice person, but he's to himself. He's not media like, oh, I just want to be in front of the camera all the time. And you get where I'm coming from? So for me and this platform, Raven himself also, we were expecting, this is going to be a very, very big interview where this is something that a lot of different gems are going to be able to be taken from it, used on different platforms, all those things because of the rarity of what it is. And this is where the story I'm telling you comes from. So I talked to a media person today. I'm not going to tell them the name, but a very nice person. I know the person, and they're good. And I asked them, and I said, hey, I got a question for you. And I waited, and I waited, and I waited. And they hit me back, and they were like, yo, what's good? Hey, everything good? I said, hey, I got a question for you. And they looked at me and they said, well, not looked at me, but they said, okay, what's up? And I said, why do you think none of the networks or media personalities brought up anything about the interview that we were able to do with Lamar Jackson? Mind you, this is me being candid with you guys. And then the person goes, I'm not sure. You know what I'm saying? But what were you looking for from the national media? That's pretty much what they said. And I said, well, they didn't use no quotes, no snippets. There was a lot of gems. There was questions that, my gosh, like no one else has asked him. Questions that answer a lot of fan questions, which would draw, drive clicks and viewership. And I was told that the national media could be very, very weird. You know what I mean? And that, these players in the grand scheme of things get interviewed all the time. But then I responded and I said, well, Lamar doesn't get interviewed that much by anybody. And anybody. I mean, this was the first interview, that we were able to do since he's been injured. You got coming from? And the person comes back and they say, you know what? That's true. He don't get interviewed a lot. And they said, look, the person told me to say, they want content. She's talking about the media that they're getting from a particular player to come from their brand, right? And most of the time, when it comes to a Lamar Jackson, right? I'm going to tell you what they said. When it comes to a Lamar Jackson, if it does not cause drama, they don't want it. That spoke volumes to me. You know why? Because when I did the interview with Lamar, I wanted it to be pure. When he said, hey, interview me, I didn't want, I asked and Ing asked good questions. But I didn't come in there with a narrative that I was trying to build. It was a totally candid interview, right? Pure. Questions, famous athlete, content creators, turn on the camera, go. And I get told that the reason why they're not probably looking at it is it because it's too positive. So this is why this bothers me. Because if this was a story that I got with him and he was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Around my neighborhood, I gotta keep the 9. I gotta be strapped all the time. They would have quickly ate all of that up. And they would have peddled it to every person that was willing to see or hear. Shoot, they might have turned it into a smell so they could smell it also. But they don't want it because it's too much of a positive image and it does not fit the narrative in which they've painted on one name, Lamar Jackson. And that's the scariest thing I think I've heard in a very long time. And here's why that's scary. Because then because you hear stuff like that, you have to start calling into question everything that the media does, right? Because I've already said that they paint narrative and they paint pictures and that's the way that they go about it, right? But I want y'all to think about the grand scheme of things. Everybody is clamoring for an interview from this one person. There's only so many of them, right? So in the last, 3 or 4 months, the most that's been said by him has been by TheWunderkindShow with Ing Raven, the Ravens themselves, and that's it. That's it. There's been nothing else. And you're going to tell me that even with a rare commodity like that, it is rare. That's actually impressive. But it doesn't fit the narrative. Then how many stories are left alone about athletes that the media might not be so ingratiated with that would spin the thought process on this athlete? No, I really got to know, because that's crazy to me, right? That's so crazy to me that they will be able to do something like that. Like, think about it. If we're just talking about truth, you just show people the truth. The story is the truth itself. It doesn't even need, this is not soul food. You don't need to throw the cook in, your grandma's Crisco in the pot, in the frying pot that no one washes, just stays greasy because of all of the flavor that's been inside that pot. You know where I'm coming from? It's not needed. But to hear, that's probably the reason nobody has even said, hello? We're not going to really talk about it. That's mind-boggling to me. Because it's almost like we're living in the Matrix. And we're force-fed whatever they deem fit for our nutritional value. Listen, I always tell people this, right? What you see with me is what you get. I can be very serious. I'm Jamaican, so there's an old saying that my parents used to always tell me. There's a time and place for everything under the sun, right? So you're not always going to get the energetic, high-octane nitro. Sometimes you'll get the mellow nitro, right? Sometimes you'll get the late night lover nitro. You feel what I'm saying? Hello. Turn into the love hits on the love below. You get where I'm coming from? You just can't stay here all the time. I'm just never going to be that. It's impossible. You know what I mean? So what you're seeing is what you get with me. The thing what I say is that a lot of athletes who I deem are just people. They're people that have achieved greatness, right? They're the same way. But a lot of times they're painted into a position or into a corner or into a box that the media refuses to let them to escape. So now, when you're looking at, like now, every time they put out anything with Lamar, I already knew somewhat. But when you get something or the opportunity like it was afforded to Ing Raven or myself, you start to say, hey, things are supposed to be a certain way, right? And when you find out they're not that way, because of these circumstances, your eyebrows get raised. It's sickening, to tell you the truth, because he is really a genuinely good guy. And I'm not saying that because I got to interview him, right? I'm telling you guys, I met his family. He's a very, very down-to-earth, nice guy. He's confident in his football ability. But in his mind, he's like, yeah, I'm a football player and I make good money. Doesn't mean I'm better than anybody. In his mind, that's how he comes off. It's like, look, man, we're all God's children. We're all God's people. And because I make a little more money than you, it doesn't mean I'm better than you. No. Everybody deserves respect. That in and within itself is lost a lot of time within Hollywood, within the media, within professional sports. But he personifies that. I'm telling you, he personifies it. If you don't believe me, go to Ing Raven's channel and ask him in the comments. Don't believe me. You know Ing Raven on Twitter. Go ask him. But to hear that doesn't fit the narrative in which they paint him. The Shannon Sharps, Skip Baylesses, Stephen A. Smiths, the Max Kellermans, the Marcus Spears, the Mina Kinds, the Jay Adams, all of these people, you have to start the question and be like, okay, then what's your motive? What's the motive? What is the motive behind painting somebody to be a villain when they're actually a good person, or maybe even the hero of the story? Maybe I'm looking too much into it, right? Maybe I'm going too deep into the rabbit hole. And what's up, Doc? Right? Maybe I'm too deep in there. But it does beg the question, why? And now, listen, I'm not saying that I was looking on this being on Time magazine or anything like that. No. Don't get confused with that. But when you see everybody clamoring for any and everything that this man has to say, an interview comes out, and mind you, it did good numbers on the channel. But when you see people, not getting in touch over snippets, even stuff that it came out, people are clicking. They're watching everything, right? People are clicking on it. People are saying, oh my God, this was amazing and stuff like that. They don't cover it. They don't talk about what his viewpoint on his belief on agents. They don't talk about his belief on faith and prayer. They don't talk about his belief in the youth. They don't talk about his wants and beliefs for the team, ceiling of the team, ceiling for himself, hopes for what he could do going forward. None of that. Smells a little fishy to me. And hopefully it smells fishy to you guys. And that's another episode of The Wunderkind Show. Look, y'all know what it is. It's fun and games. We have a lot of laughs over here, but it's rooted in fact and it's rooted in truth. So if you have not done so already, please do remember, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment. You know I love the comments. Just be respectful to other people's differing opinions, and we got no problems. And if you would like to donate to this channel to help it grow, right? Because we're reaching new milestones every day. As you've seen, everybody watching, you can see it. The bottom of the screen is a QR code for a Cash App, okay? You can find that Cash App in the description of every video that we'll do, and the name of it is The Wunderkind Show. Also available now is the team Patreon for The Wunderkind Show. And I actually have to go in there and say hi to all the new patrons. What do you get when you get there? Access to the Discord. You get access to questions from subscribers. You can talk to me directly. You also get the ability to be in sweepstakes for free merchandise. And there's going to be a fantasy football tournament for this upcoming season, and there will be prizes. So once again, this is The Wunderkind Show. This is your host, Nitro, signing off. And as always, you guys knows my slogan. Peace. And I am out of here. Yerp.